All right, let's take a look at that. So this is going to be first lap, hot lap. I don't think this track wears so much tires in this combo that there's no way that the second works unless you crawl the first lap, and it's like doesn't really matter because you're going to get the run here anyways. So as we go into turn 3 here, I'm just going to take the high line. And this is honestly kind of like the line I'll be taking for my actual lap, but I just want to get back onto the throttle as early as possible. I think about Rockingham that's really interesting. If we look at the shape of the track up here, both of the corners are very wide. So they have wide exits, or at least turn 4 is a wide exit. So you can actually get full throttle a lot earlier than you think at Rockingham. And so because of that, I try to slow my car just a little bit early, get a ton of turn. Don't even think about doing this to save tires. It doesn't. But I get a lot of turn early and then just use my steering wheel to point the car back down the hill so that I have a lot of room to straighten out the wheel and come off the corner. And all of that is just so that I can get back onto full throttle as early as possible. So just keep experimenting with how early you can get back on the throttle, and then you can kind of force the car down the hill, make a straight line exit of it. Okay, so turn 1 here. I'm going to be running I call it the Darlington groove because it's like you enter middle, you let the car slide up high with a very small brake drag, and then before you get to the wall, you need to be slow enough to where you can gas up before you reach the wall and have the car rotate under your throttle. So it's very precise because if you carry too much speed, there's no way you can do that. So if you find that you're just sliding up onto the wall and braking, then that probably means that it was too deep of an entry. And then getting back on the throttle is just not even an option there. And we just want to get back on the throttle as early as possible because of how this track works. So brake, half throttle when you're by the wall. It will take some practice to get the timing, but that's what our goal is. And then as the car turns back down the hill off the wall, we keep barely moving it up. And then as the car kind of finally makes that decisive move towards the yellow line, that's when we can go full throttle. And we'll just almost be pointed in a straight line off the corner. So let's take a look at that one more time. I'll talk you through it. Oops, sorry, a little bit too early. We're approaching. We get our quick stab of the brake to half. We put it down to a trail. We drag the brake all the way up to the wall, except for right before it, we get back to half throttle, and that should rotate our car off of it. Then as we turn down, we can get back to full throttle as we straighten the wheel and then straight line off the exit. Okay. 3 and 4, same idea, just a bit of a different shape. This one will be a lot easier to enter than 1 and 2 for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it's a lot easier for me to enter 3 and 4. This I actually enter a little bit higher, so instead of just in the middle of the track, I enter about a lane off the wall, but same idea. I get a brake to slow down, followed by an instant trail down to 10 to 20%. Then right before I get to the wall, I can just 3 and 4, you can slam the gas a lot more than in 1 and 2 for qual lap. For race pace, you don't want to slam the gas ever, but when you're pushing for lap time, sure, go ahead, slam the gas. You can see that I definitely was not as smooth getting back on the throttle. That's just for me because the car kind of is able to rotate under gas better there. And then the exit honestly just drives itself after you make that turn off the wall. Your corner is almost completely done and dusted once you can get this rotation off the wall under brake or under throttle. Once that happens, there's really nothing else that'll cause you to miss the rest of the corner. So Rockingham is really all about the entries. Take a look at that one more time. Brake up the hill, get to throttle before we get to the wall, make sure that the car turns off the wall under throttle, and then we can just go full throttle and drive it off the corner. All right, awesome. Now let's take a look at long run. All right, so let's take a look at long run. So there's a couple things that you can do in long run in terms of lines. I think that my favorite one is just wrapping the yellow line, especially in 1 and 2. 3 and 4, I think that the top becomes pretty good, but the bottom is fine as well. But the big thing about Rockingham is that you don't want to be forcing the throttle too early because it's very easy to get your car on the right front by forcing full throttle a little bit too early. So really make sure that you're being disciplined with your steering wheel and not turning it anymore once you get down to the yellow line. So you see I'm going to make a little diamond here. Hung my right rear out a little bit too much there and got me on the apron. You see I was just kind of sliding the right rear that whole corner. That's not what you want to do. You really want to keep the car neutrally balanced, because the right rear can also heat up here if you keep abusing it, but I'm also more concerned about the right front, honestly. The right rear could very well start the run wearing more, but it gets to a point where in the run, everything just gets so much on the right front that it's just impossible. So that's a little bit better. We'll do one more corner here on the bottom, and then I'll show you the other line that a lot of people like doing, which is very similar to the line that I was doing before in qualifying, which is the top. Now, 1 and 2, a little bit different than 3 and 4, because once we get up to the wall, we kind of want to turn back down. I don't really like staying up by the wall in 1 and 2 just because it comes at you really quickly. But 3 and 4, kind of go up to the wall early, and you can really just stay by the wall once you're up here. But you can see that you have to be fairly aggressive for it to be faster than the bottom, which is why I really do like the bottom for at least the very early run. The top can become better as the run goes on. Messed up there a little bit, but 3 and 4 should be a little better. But as the tires wear off and the bottom doesn't stick as well, you'll find that these top lines, the kind of Darlington-y lines, are a lot probably better in the moment. Especially with dynamic track, the bottom might slick off. Ooh, what was that? The bottom might slick off, and it just gives you another option to go to. And you can run the middle too as well, but I find that the middle is kind of the worst of both worlds for tires, because you have the same wheel input that you have on the bottom, but you're kind of forcing the throttle as early as you would on the top. And so I think that until it's almost impossible because of the slick, just rolling the bottom would be best. But hey, running the top 3 and 4 could be fine. Problem is you don't want to, it's very easy when you run the top groove to turn your wheel too much, and that'll really start wearing your tire. You see how much more I'm turning the wheel just for this corner? Like, look at how yeah, that's worth over 10. Yeah, so it'll be worth a lot of time in the short run if you do it right, but it really takes a lot of life out of your tire if you do it wrong. Let's try to nail one more on the bottom and see how this compares. I kind of missed the bottom there, unfortunately. Okay, so even with that, I only lost about 10. And running the bottom 3 and 4, this might even be better than running the top in 3 and 4. Just hit the apron. So yeah, overall about a 10. So I personally recommend the bottom for as long as you want to be saving, just because the top wears a little more tire and it's only a little bit faster. But if the slickness changes in the grooves, that might change. And then as the run goes long, your tires wear off, that might change as well. 96, 95, yeah, that's what it felt like. It's good to keep even tire wear at Rockingham. You really just want to stay off of the right front without sliding the rear. I did that a couple too many times, though. All right, thank you all for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day. Hope to see you all on the track.